You've heard of notarthurot? Now we've got soaking thurot.
Yeah, rainy day. We've had good luck with the weather. I think a week before we came here, it was going to rain every single day, and then by the time we got here, it's just today.
Yeah, so you made it all right then.
Flying home anyway.
Yeah, just.
I'm not really super familiar with Syria, actually. It's kind of like Châtelet Léal, if you're familiar with the old marketplace in the middle of Paris. It's kind of it's a giant train connection station. It's every line.
Oh, I bet I've been there, actually.
Yeah, you probably have. It's kind of hard to avoid.
Yeah, because I've been in a train in and out of Paris before, so it's been a while, though. Been a hot minute, if as the kids would say.
Right.
So what's going on in the world? You're in Paris. I'm not. I'm still angry. Apple dumped a bunch of cash on the floor because they couldn't get enough chips. Actually, so Apple revenues came in at $83.4 billion. But I think the more interesting thing is that Tim Cook said, hey, we would have made $6 billion more, but the chips, couldn't get them.
Basically, it could have been 90. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, compared to 65-ish for Google and 45-ish for Microsoft, Apple is roughly twice as big as Microsoft by revenue now.
Yeah.
And not far behind Amazon, by the way, which had its own struggles. Although, 100.
I know, the struggles.
Well, okay, but I did explain this to my wife because, as always, I try to borrow with work stuff. Mm-hmm. Microsoft, I believe their profit was about 20, wasn't it?
20
billion?
It was.
So 20 billion on 45. Amazon's was about 1 billion on 110. That's a big difference. I mean, now granted, they deal in a lot in physical goods and deliveries and all, whatever. But it's still interesting. It's an interesting business.
I meant to look into this more. Paul and I are actually doing this about an hour earlier than we typically do. But I thought that AWS actually had more revenue or more net income than everything. And then
it was about 6. I think. Was it 6?
Something like that.
6, and I think so. They don't report the net income on that, but they did report the operating profit and which operating income, I guess, but which are two close things. But if Amazon didn't have AWS, they would have recorded a loss.
Yep, that's exactly where I was headed. So it's pretty much not to go down the antitrust thing at all. But there's a pretty big argument that, and it's not even an argument, it's straight facts, that Amazon is subsidizing crushing retail because it has a cloud service. And so that's how they're getting there. I live in an area
of the country where the main interstate highway that goes by my house, or by my area, is clogged with Amazon trucks. Clogged with all kinds of trucks, but a lot of them these days are Amazon trucks. And everyone, because for some reason in our country we have to get stuff in 10 minutes, not, the little widget I need, it can't come in 2 days. It has to come in 10 seconds. And that business, as it turns out, is completely unsustainable.
Yeah, at the current price point.
Yep. And I'd really like to see that change. Not just because of the trucks, but but for the trucks everywhere. I mean, this is stupid. Why we need to wean ourselves off of that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm now... Yeah, I mean, there's two things going through my mind. One, completely related. It's like, that completely makes sense. The second one is, I'm really hoping I move the mouse off your side of the screen because I now see it over there. That's what I was... Yeah, you probably can't see it. It's really...
the mouse cursor. I'm sorry.
The mouse cursor.
I'm like, it is Paris. It could be a rat.
No. Like, it's the actual...
I see, yeah.
If there's a mouse cursor in the top right corner of Paul Thurot's screen, it's not... He didn't actually...
I can't see it. I have a little preview up there, so I don't see it.
It's tiny. It's on a 4K display.
It's okay.
Anyways,
it's not taking away from the beauty.
But as Paul alluded to a bit, is that Amazon got docked for missing revenues, but they made $110 billion, and they were expecting $111 billion. Like, those numbers they're not even real numbers. Like, you can't imagine those things.
I know. Well, the other thing is they're going to fall short this quarter too, and this is a holiday quarter, so. I think they said they were going to come in at 130 to 140, and everyone was expecting 144 or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the economy of a continent.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even make sense.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. It's massive. And so then you look at any other sort of retail startup, like there's how can you compete with a company that is actively losing money, but they're subsidizing it through another line of business at that scale? Like it's crazy.
By the way, that's what Microsoft used to do, subsidizing everything with Windows and Office. It's what Apple has done with the iPhone. It's a classic business maneuver. But the problem is when you get to be as big and dominant as these companies, as I think you alluded to earlier, it becomes I'm obviously standing under, getting whacked by water. It becomes an antitrust issue.
Yeah, and you can make the same argument for Microsoft. I would absolutely bet that they're subsidizing Game Pass right now, that they're using profits from other lines of business to be able to make that thing sustainable. This
is the whole Microsoft is a cloud company argument. I mean, that's a cloud business, and you can say, well, Azure subsidizes that. That's okay.
So, yeah. Anyways, it's been a week of the whole week has just been reporting of earnings. So, if you don't like finance talk, then stick around for next week when earnings won't be the main thing.
I feel like there's more to come. I can't imagine what big companies that might be, but this is the whole Facebook Meta nonsense.
Oh God!
Just call your company Nova and be done with it. I don't know.
So there was a great tweet about this. So clearly, Facebook is getting drugged through the mud, and they're rebranding, and so they're rebranding. So that's one thing. Now they somebody drew two parallels. They said Coca-Cola many decades ago had a problem with their product, much like Facebook does. So what did they do? They took the cocaine out of their product. That solved their problem. Facebook isn't taking the cocaine out. Then there's also Google. There are people, you can make the arguments like Alphabet. Okay, Alphabet did a similar thing, but there's a primary difference too. One, Alphabet or Google, to our knowledge, didn't topple democracies. That's a different issue. But two, when they actually restructured into Alphabet, they actually made significant management changes, and actually the founders of Google are no longer there. And so you look at what Facebook is doing; they're not taking the cocaine out. So they're leaving that, and management's not changing either.
It's just a rebrand because the name Facebook leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah.
Oculus is becoming Rift.
Why are they doing that? Oculus was such a good name.
It's a good brand. Leave it alone. In fact, you know what? Don't leave it alone. Sell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a strange company. I don't know. I wish there was something better to look at back here. But
there's no
a little park thing.
Yeah, you got a little piece there in the middle.
Type. We're trying to figure out what Corone means. It's like Corone. I don't know. We had to look that one up. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you let us down yet again. Expected more out of your cultural tours throughout.
Sorry.
So you're flying home here in a little bit?
Yeah, so we're flying home earlier than expected, after flying home later than expected. It's what happens when you fly like a grade C airline out of France. I guess it's treated like a bus. They just change things.
So did they move it up an hour or back an hour?
Up.
Wow.
But originally they moved it back by 2 hours. So I think they're just splitting the difference now.
Wow. You don't see that very often, that they move it up, because typically that can...
I know. I don't know that I've ever seen it.
What airline
Every time I get an email from these guys, you're going to laugh when you hear this one. I'll just prep you by saying, you have never heard of this airline. Its name is French B. BEE. So I get these cheap flight alerts through Scott's Cheap Flights, I think it's called. I actually pay for the service. And this popped up, and I was like, we got to do this, And honestly, it's not like a little bailing wire and balsa wood thing or anything. It's a nice big plane. It's like a 333 layout. It's big. It's 51 rows of seats, and it's big. So it's not like it's secondhand. We bought it from Lufthansa when they.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this like a leftover C-130 they pulled out of Iraq?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a B-52 bomber from World War II that they decided they could use again. No, it's fine. So the airplanes are good.
Oh, good. Well, we wish you safe journeys home, and we'll be back early next week for a couple episodes. I think I got to actually go into the office next week. I was supposed to go this week. But, yeah. Anyways, we'll still have some shows next week. Everybody should enjoy their bonus episodes this week. Or maybe not. Maybe we're entitled. Who knows? Who knows, Paul?
It's a free service.
Get what you pay for. Probably just like your flight.
Fuck you.